Welcome to SIIA Tech Chats. I'm Rihanna Collier, and today I am joined by Kevin O'Brien, VP of IoT Partner Sales at PTC. PTC is a global technology provider of an IoT and AR platform. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. So everybody's talking about IoT.
Thank you, Rihanna.
What industries do you think are leveraging IoT the most, and what industries should be considering IoT projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing IoT spread across a number of different industries. PTC as a company, we sell to a lot of discrete manufacturers. Products. At the same time, they have to manufacture those products in their operations. So we also see them creating smart connected operations. And there's traction on both sides. I think on the operation side, in areas like factories, there's quite a bit of momentum because of the nature of the equipment that's on a factory floor. You can get access to it. You can get analytics on it. You can get data that help your operation immediately. So we're seeing traction in that area. And then in new areas, in places where people haven't used technology as extensively, like smart cities. So whether it's lighting, hooking up buildings to become more energy efficient, there's a whole range of use cases that we're seeing take shape in smart cities to really improve the quality of life, whether it's trash pickup or safety. There's a real impact to people in their lives as they start to make these cities more connected and smarter. Beyond that, we're seeing areas sprout up like oil and gas. Right? If you think about the oil and gas industry, with the price of oil going down, people are starting to focus on projects to get more operationally efficient. So to run pipelines more efficiently, to run refineries more efficiently. So that's an area where we're seeing quite a bit of traction and interest. The energy markets, things like smart metering, and other ways to become more energy efficient are areas, and even agriculture. People are putting sensors with their crops to figure things out. One of our partners, it was actually pretty interesting, in Massachusetts, they took our platform ThingWorks and they went out to a local farm. This partner called Analog Devices, they make sensors. So they took a set of sensors and they put them on a tomato field to measure wind and humidity and temperature and daylight and all these different factors. And they worked with the farmers because the pain point in tomato farming is, when is the tomato at the ripest point to harvest? And that's basically all of tomato farming centers around that one issue. And with the sensors and with the data coming into our ThingWorks, which allows you to create an application, they were able to monitor this and pick the exact right time to harvest. So not only did they do that, they then entered those tomatoes in a contest. I think it was a Massachusetts-wide contest for best tomato, and the tomatoes won. So for me, that's an example where, very simple set of sensors, very simple application, yet if you think about the business value there, people have been growing tomatoes in Massachusetts for hundreds of years. So there's hundreds of years of knowledge and expertise to grow and pick the tomato at its ripest. All of a sudden, with a set of simple sensors and some simple applications, you were able to become the best at a domain that has hundreds of years of experience. So I think that's an example for me that starts to show where the business value is with IoT and where we can get to as more instances like that come up.
We have to talk about everybody's biggest concern around IoT, which is security. How do you ease concerns around IoT security?
Yeah. I think security is an expertise, right? If your kid had a toothache, you wouldn't take out a drill and drill their tooth and fill their tooth. You'd go to the dentist. I think security is very similar, where there's a set of people in the world that have a level of expertise on security that you need to engage. That's kind of my simple answer. And then I think as you look at building IoT applications, the more bespoke you are, the more you kind of start from scratch and try to do a full stack development. When you're building at the edge, you're building all the connectivity, you're building the application yourself. You start to create more surface area and more risk that you yourself are taking on. So one of the values that working with a vendor that's helped to sort out some of these protocols, some of the connectivity, the connections between all the piece parts in Internet of Things, you begin to de-risk yourself from a security standpoint, because you're not taking on all the basics of building an IoT solution yourself, right? So that's kind of where I see security. I mean, it's obviously a big thing that people have to look after. So you need to bring in an expert. And I think the more that you can partner with people, and we do this all the time, partnering with people to help put together a IoT application landscape where the developer has their ideas and their domain expertise and builds the application, and they don't have to worry about the end-to-end security. They can partner for that.
Outside of security, one of the things I hear when I talk to companies is I think the challenge that they face is understanding how to monetize IoT. You obviously need support from partners and such. What are the keys to monetizing IoT, and how do you go about finding that support?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I see is a lot of times either people get in a room. Sometimes we're guilty of it, with another partner. And people think of these great ideas for IoT solutions or IoT applications, or they look at the market research. And the real thing that needs to happen here is working deeply with customers and unlocking for the customer what they're trying to achieve. And once you lock in on that business value, in that economic driver that the customer has, and build a solution to solve that, then things move very fast. I think I see a lot of IoT projects that move slowly, and often it's based on vendor-driven ideas and solutions, right? The vendor knows best. The vendor will build application, and of course the customer will buy it. I think that the more you're in touch with what the customer needs, the better. I mean, I was with one of our partners yesterday, and they were speaking with depth around some issues that one of their accounts has in the area of training thousands and thousands of employees and keeping that training up to date, and helping them in kind of repair, maintenance scenarios. And it's the type of area where there's real hard costs against getting those people trained, the accuracy of the training, et cetera. And building that back into a solution creates value. And I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me right now with IoT is just that depth of customer understanding, in that those customer problems that have huge economic drivers that will make them move fast towards the solutions that people are proposing.
That's great. Before I let you go, Kevin, what advice would you give companies looking for an IoT platform? Of course, outside of just picking PTC and ThingWorks.
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I think that companies have to look at their core competencies. right? What do they want to be good at, and what are their real objectives? And if you look at the IoT market, a lot of what's going on is based on speed to market. For any of those segments I talked about earlier, whether it's smart city, oil and gas, energy, factory, product OEMs, there are dozens and dozens of people building solutions to attack those markets. And the two things that stand out to me are time to market. So they need to get out there and be compelling quickly. And to do so, you need an application or an IoT application that you can iterate very quickly. Because once you're going into this domain that people have never been in before, where you hook sensors up to physical assets, people start to see the data. They've never seen that data before. And once they see that data, they start to have new thoughts on iterations, other things that they could do, analytics they could plug in. And you need a framework from a platform standpoint that allows you to iterate with your customer very quickly, which is something we see a lot, and obviously something that we support. We're pretty happy that ThingWorx is at the top of the Forrester wave for IoT platforms. And I think that's a big thing, big reason why people have worked with us is that ability to get products to market or get IoT applications to market quickly, and then to iterate them. And when you look at where these applications land, they land in places like factories or places like cities where you don't have a full stack developer there, right? You have somebody who has a set of business skills and some technical acumen and can help build and develop applications. But a lot of these places where IoT and where the value for IoT will be, you need to help them with a platform. There isn't they're not going to be able to start from scratch. So, that's where we're seeing the types of people that we're working with. There's kind of a long tail on IoT apps, we like to say, where if somebody's building the next Twitter and they need to be pixel perfect, then okay, pull down all your open source, pull down, and get a developer to build something from scratch. But for the vast majority of IoT use cases, the applications are more in the middle of the long tail, where you can't stand up a full stack development team to build an application from scratch. And even if you did, you then wouldn't have the resources to iterate it the way that these applications do. So that's where we see people really partnering for IoT platforms and being successful.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. For more information on PTC, ThingWorx, and SIIA, please visit our websites and stay tuned for next week's Tech Chat.